Welcome to Curious Conversations about Brain Change, where we have open conversations about brain change and challenging situations. Please like, subscribe, and share this out to help spread Teepa all over the world.
I don't know that we should. Well, we could be spreading Teepa. It sounds like it's better to spread peanut butter, maybe strawberry jam, but I'm not sure about spreading Teepa. Sounds like a bad idea. Oh, but we are spreading, hopefully tonight, some hope, joy, thoughts, ideas, concepts, information tonight in our curious conversation. So we're in the season of celebrations, of gifts, of giving, season of lights and Hanukkah, seasons of Christmas, seasons of actually celebration of light. And we're also at the solstice, which is that shortest day of the year. So everybody makes lanterns, Chinese or Japanese lanterns and lights, and does a walk through Hillsborough anyway. I don't know about other places, but we have a solstice walk with lanterns that everybody makes. So that's coming up on Friday evening. But tonight we're going to sort of dig in a little bit and talk about gift giving when somebody is living with the brain changes of dementia, or gathering and celebrating when somebody's living with the brain changes of dementia, or traveling for the holidays, or traveling to go do something when someone's living with dementia. Because our focus is brain changes and dementia. So I'm going to kick us off. I've done a little bit of work on trying to figure out, okay, so what are some ideas that we could share out? And I'm going to ask then Joanna and the team to give me some feedback on my ideas. So I'll kick us off. Let's see, Matthew, if you would pull up the PowerPoint, because I've actually prepared something for you. So we're going to talk about gift giving. And my main message here, if you can get it over to a PowerPoint versus the slide. Can you get it in slideshow, Matthew, or not? I don't know what you can do from the magic of, what is it called? StreamYard. So you may have to help me out here a little bit. And Matthew can say, can we do it any differently than that, or is that how it's going to appear? And I know Matthew's probably working on it. And he may have muted himself, or he's working on it. See, this is what happens when we try to do this. We haven't done a PowerPoint for a while. So the tricky part is getting it out of presentation mode and into actual slide deck mode. So we'll see whether or not that works. Because I had to send my slides to him because this system won't let me be the boss of me. It's making Matthew the boss of me.
So Teepa, set us up here. You're doing this little visuals are what exactly?
So what I want to do is have us talk about twofold. The idea of we want to keep things simpler, and we need to quit elaborating on holidays and more celebrating just small pieces, small bits, so we can enjoy each other. Because if we try to do too much for too long with too many people and too much environmental stimulation, it's overwhelming. And nobody's having a good time anymore. We're just trying to manage each other and manage ourselves. And it's true with kids, but I think it's also true with anybody with a brain that is full already. I mean, just getting through the day, getting through my life, my brain is busy enough. So you add on something that is demanding, and it's not as much fun as you think it is. It's not as exciting as you think it is. It's more overwhelming than anything else. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through what I call and what is known as the 5 love languages. How do you provide someone with something that you consider a gift? And then we're going to talk about the actual process of gift giving. Who would have thought it's a 5-step process? Had no idea. And because we don't realize it's a process, we don't give it its full possibility of making a difference for us. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how do you celebrate reasonably when you're living with the reality of having dementia in your life. So let's start first with the 5 love languages. And I'll go ahead and share them out. And there are 5 of them. So the first one is offering an act of service. So doing something as a service. So I'm going to ask the team here, what are acts of service? What would you?
Maybe coming to Snow Approach Foundation and mopping the floors.
Okay, so doing something for an organization, for a group, for somebody, coming and doing something. What else might be an act of service?
Cooking.
Cooking for whom?
Oh, the person whose love language is acts of service, possibly a spouse or children.
So for the person who's receiving the gift, if they love acts of service, then doing a service for them is an act of love. It doesn't mean it has to be your love language. It has to be their love language. So what's another kind of act of service?
I would say some one-on-one quality time, Teepa.
Oh, no, that's a second one. That's another one.
That's another one.
Yeah, that's a different gift category.
So being with me is different from doing something that seems like a job or a task that you may value. So Joanna's got one that seemed to be one.
Yeah, what was yours, Joanna?
Doing errands, because that's not something I'm able to do successfully anymore. So when someone goes to Walmart, someone meaning my husband, and when he does things that help our environment be something that I can be successful in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Then I'm not waiting. The waiting is really miserable and painful. So I hope that sounded the way I meant it. When
it does.
It was like the dog poop, so I can play with the dogs in the backyard without stepping in it. Going and getting, the stuff from Walmart, whatever it is, then I can move through my day better.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I mean, and you described 2 excellent acts of service. And these are things, they don't have to be big. They can be small, but they're meaningful. Mm-hmm. So for you, not having to worry about where you're putting your feet when you're out playing with the dogs, it feels great to be able to go out there and do that. And knowing that your husband did that, that's a big, I love you, Forrest, for doing that for me.
Yeah.
Going ahead and going to Walmart so you don't have to worry about that. That's feeling good.
Yeah. He's a really good dish steward too. He does the dishes almost twice a day, every morning and every night. So he knows when I come in, I can do what I need to do to get my tea or whatever it is. I'm not having to search through dirty dishes and stuff on the counter. He tackles that, and it's a huge benefit to my brain not having to use reserves to figure out, now where's my cup and where's the stuff, because there's all this other stuff. And it sounds small, but it's huge.
It's huge. And so, but if I were to say, so Joanna, what would you like for Christmas? Probably those things wouldn't necessarily be the things that come up, but yet those are things to be grateful for. And it is a gift.
Right.
That happens. So I'm curious. So Cheryl, when you think of acts of service, for me, one of the things, if you were going to give me, because I do appreciate acts of service, but what I would appreciate is you doing something for someone else, not for me. Isn't that an interesting thing? So I would really appreciate if you would work with the kids that we have come into Snow Approach Foundation. mean, that would be an act of service. Now, it's not directly directed to me, but I would really appreciate, and that would be an act of expression of love for me, agape.
And I would really enjoy doing that too, Teepa, for you and the children. And that would even give me a little bit of happiness.
Okay, so sometimes when we do this right, there's more than one level of value in this. So let's go to the second one, because I acts of service for many of us. How many people on this webinar right here really do appreciate acts of service, and that for you is a love language? I know it's a big one for me. Yeah.
Joanna brought up one that made me think about even just making sure that the sidewalk and the driveway and the stairs, and because I'm in Ontario, Canada, and right now that's exactly what my husband just did before the electrician got here, making sure it was clear and safe.
And say for the electrician coming in.
Right, where it's again doing that for somebody that may be your neighbor, and you know that they're having or somebody.
I can remember as a teenager raking leaves for all the older people in the neighborhood. And we didn't charge anybody, but we had a group of girls. We'd go around and rake up everybody's leaves and get rid of them for them. Because back in those days, at least, people didn't want the leaves on their yard. They wanted them gotten rid of. But for the folks that were weekend warriors, we were always concerned that they would end up with heart attacks because they didn't usually do that much aggressive work. And the same thing with snow, but it was that kind of idea. Oh, okay, good. We're going to come back to Joanna's. Here's another one though. The second one is what Cheryl mentioned. It's spending time with me. Offering to actually, let's spend time together, quality time together. Let's do something together. Let's be together. So, let's see, on the team, what are some ideas for quality time together? What comes to mind for folks?
Or what if you don't like that person?
That's not.
Well, I'm just saying you don't want quality time with everyone because
no, you're absolutely right.
You're having to be polite, and you really just want to go get the hell out of here, and send me like an Amazon gift card. But there's other people you do want quality time with.
I mean, and so what you're hearing is, you have to keep in mind that when I want quality time with somebody, it's got to be, I want time with you and you're giving me that time, then it has value. If I don't want you with me, then time with you is not like valuable. I just had a consult today. It was an interesting consult because the brother of the care partner, the woman who's really supporting her husband is a real strong introvert, doesn't like a whole lot of people around him and in his space and in his home. His wife really is more, loves people, likes to have conversations, has lots of friends, and has really missed her brother. So her brother was coming down to spend some time at Thanksgiving. And we worked hard on creating, like, looking at the environment, make sure they didn't leave stuff laying around because that bothers her husband, making sure they were quiet and out of the way before too late in the night, making sure that, they really practice their skills of approach and engagement. And so we were talking about how it went. And her brother said, well, it was pretty clear from the beginning, he would really rather have had us not in his house. And, the whole time, the most he smiled was when he saw our bags by the door ready to leave. And so we're planning for a Christmas visit. So guess what we've done? Guess what our plan is? In keeping with what Joanna said. They're staying at a hotel. They aren't going to stay with them. They have a perfectly nice house, but the family is going to stay at a hotel because it's just, it makes him so uncomfortable. And that's exactly what Joanna's saying. So what we have to do is negotiate for the care partner. What does the care partner really need? She wants time with her family, but she also has to respect that her partner, the person living with, is so miserable that, and the brother just said, like, they're blow-ups. I have blow-ups. He has blow-ups. And it's like, well, he's having blow-ups because you guys are in his space and he's having a hard time with it. It's too much. And so we we negotiated a change. But the only way we figured it out was we tried it because he used to like them coming together. They used to go on cruises together. But things have changed.
So Teepa, I thought I was doing an act of service gift, and it ended up being more of a time with somebody gift. And I had to be okay with it. So I had an interesting situation where I thought I was going to buy all these flowers and my mom and I could together plant some planters. Well, I got there and it was very clear that she's like, no, we'll plant your planters for you. And I was like, and I literally even said, I was like, oh, I kind of got it. So I thought we could, you could have a planters too. And she goes, no. I think she had a great time. I think it was still a gift of time, but it wasn't the gift of service that I thought it was. She was really, because she's more skilled at planting stuff than I am. And so it was a interesting, I think she really enjoyed it, but it ended up being a gift of time. And I had to be okay with that.
Yeah. So you had to sit back and let her do the planting and you were just hanging.
Yeah, well, I mean, she definitely, it was with me and it was time with me and we did the planting together. It really was that way, but it was about the time with her. It wasn't about the act of planting.
Yeah.
And it was
so interesting. Yeah.
I'd be okay with that. And luckily I was thinking that was my point, was we could have some moments together of happiness. It wasn't about the service.
Yeah. Yeah. And so here's your third one, because I'm going to move to the third one. The third one is giving a gift. Actually, some people like stuff. They want stuff. And so that's how you show them love. You give them stuff. You give them something that they really like. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a big stuff. Some people, they want specific stuff, but other folks, any little suggestion of something that you thought of me and you offer me this thing. And so I'm curious how many of you on the screen really like stuff and you like to get gifts of stuff. Interesting. So Matthew, what
am a
stuff
little
do you-
bit.
Oh, go ahead, Samantha. Yeah, so a little bit. Tell me about that.
Well, you can kind of see some of my stuff that I was given, and I like to be able to look at the stuff, but it can't get too much. So little, stuff, some pretty stuff, or homemade, personally made.
Created.
Stuff.
Okay. Created things.
Yeah.
Things that have personal value to them. I'm thinking.
Useful
things. Okay. So useful things. I'm into useful things.
Yeah, you're right. It's going back to what Joanna kind of talked about. The gift of time is only helpful if it's the person that you like spending time with. And it sounds like even more so the gift of stuff, for the most part, it's when someone nails it, you're like, wow. It's almost like we're kind of surprised at it, at how lovely that gift of stuff was. So it doesn't sound like it's a love language necessarily for us, but only a little bit.
It sounds like for us to actually, to be a love language, it has to have personal value. Without personal value for us, whether it's functional value or whether it's beauty value, or it's whether it's made value or whether it's match value, unless it shows that you're really paying attention to me, it's not really a gift of love.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I don't know where the hand is on StreamYard, so I'm going to use my regular hand.
Good job. You did great.
I've got another one just like it. I'm curious. Now, are we considering gift giving or love languages? Okay. So are we talking about both the caregiver and the care receiver? Okay.
Yeah.
So here's kind of what downloads in my brain is when everything in as far as love languages and gift of time and service and stuff, and I guess the other two are coming, that all has to be in the moment. It literally has to be in the moment. I don't care what I've liked the last 57 years, because It changes from day to day. And so if I really wanted somebody to come visit and they come on a weekend or whatever it is, and I'm not doing well, then that's a fail. So this idea of, and I'm not trying to be mean like Beth with her.
No. That's super helpful, I think.
She's like, okay, I'm going to do this. And it's kind of like when we talk about not having an agenda. So you got to, be okay with being in the moment. And as soon as you're in that space together or on the phone or whatever it is, then you get information that you need to make a good decision about what love language to use, regardless of what it's been in the past. Now, I do whatever I want as far as gift giving to people, and I don't really give a rat's ass if they like it or not. I wanted to make a prayer bead or a necklace or make a muffin, and it's like, this is what made me happy. I can't fetter out and figure out what all of these people want. But I am showing you that I care in the only way that I know how to anymore. So that's really, it's like kind of one-sided. I'm doing what's right for me as far as showing other people I care in the way that I can show that. And I need them to show they care as soon as we're in that moment together. And so a lot of this means zero planning. A lot of it is planning to have no plan, if that makes sense. It's really a change with this brain stuff.
Yeah. And so what I say, one of the reasons I do the 8S's is we've got to quit making this so elaborate that we're so invested in it that when it doesn't work well, we're crushed.
Right.
Instead, it needs to be smaller and less intense so that if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If we start it and it seems like it's sort of coming together, it's like, all right, let's keep it short though, because we don't need this to drag out, because in the first 5 to 10 minutes, you'll know, is this a good matchup for right now?
Right.
And we need to really simplify it, but not babyfy it, but just simplify it, make it as simple as possible. So we can back off of it and the person can back off of it, not feel overwhelmed by it. And so keeping it small so that we don't have to inform 15 people. Oh, actually, Joanna's decided she doesn't want to do it. let me get on the email and get up with everybody. Because then we're putting you in a box and it's super uncomfortable. And then there's the space, the social preferences, what time of day we're even going to try it at. And then how sensory rich should it be for you? But most of all, if it's not satisfying for both of you, then you should quit. Just quit, because it's not going to get better if it's not satisfying. Does that sound fair? So let's go back to the love languages, because we have 3 of them. Cheryl, give me what you got so far. Let's see what you were holding on to.
So I was holding on to keeping it short.
Okay, those are the S's. Go to the love languages. What's the first love language? Beth might have to help out, or maybe Samantha.
Isn't physical like touch and being?
Ooh, that's the 5th one. You're ahead.
Service. There we go. That's because my service wasn't an active service. Remember? That's where my brain went somewhere else. So, and now I still have this giving a gift, Teepa, on my brain, because when you ask the group who likes getting gifts, I totally am a gift giver. And that makes me happy. So honestly, at Christmas, you will not see anything under the tree from myself and my husband but man, I've spent a lot on the people I love and care for. And in saying that, if I don't find a card or a gift that I feel is going to make you suit you, I won't buy one. Birthdays, Christmas. If it doesn't have meaning for the person I'm buying it for, it's like, I'm sorry, I could not find something that meant value to me and you.
Mm-hmm. And what do you do because knowing you, what do you offer instead? And I'm going to bet it's words of affirmation,
Yes.
which is another way of showing love and appreciation. You offer words of affirmation. You say something wonderful to the person. You affirm the person with some skill or ability or some trait that they have that you really admire or enjoy.
Yeah. So the gift that is my gift. That is that they're me making other people happy or feeling good about the situation or whatever is what is a gift to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's just who I am. So it's not
Yeah.
that I don't like gifts. Yeah, give me a gift. But I'd rather give them than get them.
So one of the things I really appreciate about Joanna and why I will offer this opportunity if she's willing to do this, to come onto these, is she's very candid and she can share with us things that we need to hear as
Absolutely.
people who really care deeply about supporting someone living with the brain changes that come, but not being a person who's in that situation. We need that information. And I just absolutely so enjoy Joanna being able to help us figure things out and hear things and reflect on things. And that to me is a real talent um, that Joanna continues to have. And I think she's probably always had it, but she continues to display over and over and over again for us.
Thank you for those words of affirmation.
Yeah. And it's why you're so popular and why we enjoy being with you so much, as you have this talent that we value so much.
Likewise.
Yeah.
I have a good words of affirmation example. Can I share it? Because
Yeah, please.
and I think Beth has heard this one. When I vacuumed the bathtub before that worldwide webinar thing I did a couple years back. Do you remember that? What? I was like, oh my God, there's going to be so many people, like close to 1,000. Okay, Teepa remembers it. And in my brain, I mean, it was virtual. In my brain, I went, what do you do when people are coming to the house? You clean the bathroom. So I'm like, okay, this is what I have to do to get ready. And I was in a good place, and I came out of there and I told Forrest, he was like, what are you doing? I said, I'm cleaning the bathroom and I just finished vacuuming the bathtub. And instead of him saying, why'd you do that? Why are you trying to clean the bathroom? And why would you vacuum the bathtub? You're getting ready to be on this thing and be recorded. He said, I bet you did a really good job. That was a game changer. That sustained me for days. And every time I talk about it, I get kind of choked up. And I think that people need to know this is a kind of shift in the moment. You have a choice to make. Why the hell did you vacuum the bathtub? Because it was dirty. Or I bet you did a really good job. That changed everything. And that is something that I need.
Yeah.
And I value. So thank you for your words of affirmation, because it goes right to here.
Yeah. And what's really remarkable about Forrest's ability to do that sort of thing, it was still before the webinar.
Right.
And it was super important that he keep in mind, so she is really working hard to be able to do a great job. Would it serve her better for me to break the news, or should I be supportive in a way? I'm sure you did a really good job, because that's what you do, which is exactly what you needed right before that webinar. And that's why you were doing what you're doing, because you wanted to do a really good job and you were doing the prep needed to be able to do a good job. And I'm going to bet that that amount of energy you put into that cleaning actually cleared your mind a good bit.
It did.
So you could do the webinar.
To sit down, and it was like, okay, so all these people aren't coming to the house. I still have a clean bathtub.
Exactly. Very meaningful. Good job. Still good job, I would say. And how you pull the whole content together for that. So the last one Joanna actually mentioned was physical connecting. Here's the thing, though. This is one of those ones that's really in the moment, and you really got to read the room on that one. That's where you offer a hug. You don't demand a hug. That's where you offer to be with someone, but you don't demand it. It's where you provide that opportunity, but you never push into it. And I think it's one of the hardest ones for people who are not living in the world of living with dementia, either side, care partner or person living with, to appreciate that everything changes when there's brain change. And sometimes I really intensely want something, and sometimes I intensely do not want something. But caregiving without a loving approach to it, I think, is really probably one of the most devastating things we can do to another human being, is to touch and call it care when it's not delivered with the care and the appreciation of the human that you're doing it with. And I think that's probably for me, one of the most unacceptable things to do. So that's where I sit with it. Anybody else want to comment on that particular thing?
This is one of those things where it's these love languages, know thyself, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering about the way to start thinking this through is recognizes which ones you don't like. I mean, if it's too hard to figure out which ones you value, maybe either look at the ones you don't like that make you uncomfortable, that you really don't appreciate, or the ones that maybe you find yourself doing more often. And I wonder if that's kind of a window into what you actually value, because you think other people value it too, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. That's a good thought, Beth. One of the things I think people tend to forget about is there's a huge difference between doing the touching and being touched. And being touched is something that has to be agreed to. And it has to be appreciated. And if it's not there, it's not there. But there's lots of kinds of touch. So for holidays, yeah, one of the things I think people get a little carried away with is, oh, hey. And it's like, I'll do this. And I'm leaning way back. And I sort of like, how are you looking at that? Is that sort of an okay thing? Or is it, I am so glad to see you? And the idea of maybe offering someone a hand massage is very different than rubbing on their back and squeezing them and pinching their cheeks. Those kinds of things. And you don't like, Joanna, you look so good. I mean, it's like, it's such a surprise that you look so good. I mean, those are not words of
I
affirmation.
don't look like I have Alzheimer's, do I, Teepa?
I know. It's remarkable. Huh?
And so Teepa, so this really brings something to my mind, knowing, like you were bringing up this idea of hugging. Often when we get together for holidays or for celebrations, and families are getting together, if they're families who've been used to coming together and hugging and immediately just diving into that, and that being very cerebellar, the challenges that can come from that when in this moment now we're starting to bring brain changes into the mix. And if I'm not doing so with permission, if I'm not giving time, or even often you mention about this idea of starting somewhere that's more external before we get to somewhere that's more intimate, the difference that could make if we took the time to do that, to make sure, is this truly okay or not? Because how often do we assume I should just be able to go in and totally bear hug this person, and make a lot of assumptions in this moment when, I just did something I did not really want to do. And the difference that makes with those physical connections. And especially being cerebellar around this time of year.
Yeah. And another one that I just watched, two people do at the cafe. Someone came in and someone else said, "Here, let me get your coat." And where do you think their hands went immediately? And they were behind the person and say, "Hey, let me get your coat." And the person lunged forward and almost fell because the other person had their coat far enough down that they blocked their arms. And it was like, "Ooh, we need to do some training here. That's not okay." So it proceeded, come into somewhere and people have coats on, how you make the offer and then how you support, because people want to be helpful. But that's an act of service that was not requested. And there was no pause. Joanna.
I just put them both up. Okay, I promise this is connected. Okay, so you know how we talk about, or at least I think I do, about using a slower rate of speed, a slower pace, and moving slower. And I have to slow down my audiobooks, which is great because I can do that, right? And if I'm watching a movie, I can't do that. Where am I going with this? So this happened, actually probably started a couple years ago, where when I would go to my dad's house, we'd go up there, and he likes to invite, he and my stepmom like to invite the neighbors. And you know, sometimes it's like, "Hey, your other brother's coming over with his kids," and you know, stuff that wasn't planned, which is fine. But if I even if I know the person, or you know, whatever, I'm familiar, if I haven't seen them in years, here's what has to happen in the room. I have to start where I am sitting across from them. Okay, that's where the placement has to be. And then slowly, because this is how it needs to be, the slower process, I can either decide to move closer to on the sofa or the chair, or I can eventually say, "Hey, why don't you come sit over here closer to me so we can chat?" But I always have to start out, and especially if I don't know who they are, you know, they cannot come sit within hitting distance, because I mean, not that I'm going to do that, but I don't want to have to worry. I don't want them that close.
You feel unsafe. Is what I hear you saying. You feel unsafe. Yeah.
It feels too fast. And that's a real thing. And this is, you know, and eventually it's like Aunt so-and-so or cousin so-and-so. Yeah, you know, I'm sure I still love you and all that, but start there and we will eventually move closer, and maybe not, but at least you're starting at a safe place. And that's just like the other stuff we talk about with eating is slower, hearing is slower, talking is, all of these things. And so that's the same thing with touch. Now, I just want to say there's active and passive touch. And there's routine. I'm not going to talk about the R-rated stuff, but with my husband, every morning he knows we have to sit together on the sofa where we're close enough where our arms or our legs are touching. And if we don't, if one of us gets up, you know, at a different time, and I have a Zoom to get on before I've had that touching time, that passive touching, I am not okay, because that's a step that's been missed in my day. That's one of the things that has to happen, and I'm still seeking it, even if I don't see it. But he will say, "Wow, you're turning into cranky, big old cranky pants. Come sit. Let's come sit." He knows we missed it. He knows we missed that piece, and that's passive touch. It's not like I need him to come over and put on the chicka bow wow music. It's just come sit. I don't know. I don't know where that came from.
It's a great phrase, chicka bow wow. I like it.
But just sitting where we're touching, passive touching, you know, drinking coffee on our phone and passively touching. That is a thing that I need and I require.
Well, what's really interesting, Joanna, is that we talk about going from public space to personal space to intimate space. And what you're saying is when I have someone I'm typically intimate with, I need some time to just have you be with me so we meld a little bit because we know that it's true that our energies, when we sit with one another, it sort of blends, which is why I think frequently our hand under hand support, where we're just helping the motion that's already going to happen, um, they're so powerful because it is a passive touch. We aren't doing it to do anything other than be present with you as you do the thing you want to do, and I can provide the support you need to get it done. But it always works so much better if there's 2 points of contact, so you know where I am and what I'm doing as I'm there. And then I just disappear for you, and I'm part of you, and you're part of me, and I'm not having to work so hard at it.
Exactly. And it's the I'm okay, you're okay connection. It's not, I hate massages. I actually don't like other people touching me. I mean, unless I initiate it. But
there's purpose to it. I mean, if I say, Joanna, could we do this? I want to show people what happens when we do this. You'll tolerate it. I mean, but it's tolerance. It's not enjoyment.
And exactly. So there's a difference between active and passive, and you kind of need to investigate what that is for that interaction.
Good job. Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to switch gears just for a minute because I've discovered this. I found it online and I was really surprised about it. Matthew, if you'll go to the next slide, because I really want us to. There's a process of gift giving, which I was totally unaware of. And it's 5 stages. So the first stage that you have is prepare for the gift giving. And then there's the next one, which is actually exchange the gift. So I give something and you're going to give me something or not, but I give you the gift. Okay, next comes reveal the gift. We have the big reveal of the gift. And then the next part of it is you have to use the gift. You have to make use of the gift, because without making use of the gift, then it's really not a valued gift. And then reflect. I should be giving you something back in return for the gift. And so if you go to the next slide, this actually is pretty complicated. There's a whole model. And this is the thing that was like, wow, had no idea. So in preparation, I mean, there is this idea of this process that you go through where what you're trying to do is actually you're motivated, you're searching, you're buying, you're crafting, you're wrapping, and then we get to the exchange, and then there's the giving and the receiving and the anticipation and what's it going to be, and then there's the reveal where you unwrap it, you anticipate, and you're like worrying about it. Are they going to like it? Are they not going to like it? Is it going to be valued? Is it not going to be valued? And then they use it, either consuming it or displaying it or experiencing it in or repurposing it in some way. And then you reflect, which means, oh, wow, this was wonderful. You give feedback, you communicate. And so what was interesting is where's the involvement from the receiver to the recipient. So anyway, I found it sort of fascinating, having had no idea. So Beth, I'm curious, do you have any thoughts on this, being the more academic among us, you and Joanna?
I'm looking for the citation, Joanna, but that being said, there's some social validity here that's kind of resonating with me, because I've seen the things that came to mind is when I failed at these. So, for example, one of our team members, Casey, and she's gonna now, because she's such a wonderful person, I don't want her to feel bad because this is really funny. She gave me the most perfect gift that was preparation. She clearly did some work on it. It was a series of pictures. It had value because it was a mutual joke between us. And then she packaged this up and she sent it to me. And I literally like guffawed when I opened it. It was like a snort laughter. And then I literally had it up on my bulletin board. Every time I was, working, I had it like visible within my view. And I thought about it a lot. And like, not even a year, probably like a year later, she made this comment like, oh, I don't know if you ever got that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't do that other part of the cycle. And I said, you had no idea. Oh my God, I feel terrible because it has given me so much joy. It has cracked me up every time I see it. I completely failed to even reach out. And it was functionally, it was a letter and some pictures, right? So there wasn't the automatic trigger in my mind. It was also, I probably like took off and flew out the next day and totally, forgot to circle back around. But then I realized the reality of it is that it was meant for a connection. It was a gift that she did that was an act of, it was a gift, but it was more of the act of, what do you guys think it was? Like a gift of
shared, it's a shared mutual, it would be a mutual bonding.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, like Joanna described it, it's a passive touch. It was sort of a passive touch for her.
The gifts was a
look, we're the same. We're in connection. We're partners in this. We're very alike in this.
And because of the distance of the gift and the distance of our physicality, it never came back up, and I never closed that hand-to-hand connection. And I laughed about it because I was like, oh my goodness. So now every once in a while I'll send little, like, a mention or something that comes up, or she'll send me a text, and it continues that connection. But I do think about the times in which how much it means to people when you reach out after a gift has been given. I've actually made it a point to reach out to someone and just mention in a text, like, hey, you gave me such and such years ago. And I just, here it is in my backpack or something, just recognizing the value of that. And so it's funny that I failed on that darker side of that.
Oops.
So it has some social validity, but it also, it looks
exhausting. Uh-ohs lead to ahas, Beth. You know how we say that. Uh-ohs lead to ahas. So
they do. And here's the thing. I think when it comes to dementia and gift giving, hearing, Joanna, what you voiced when you saw that graphic, and the fact that you put that looks like torture, that sounds like torture, things like that, that idea that the balance of that and that follow-up, that expectation changes. Yeah. And how you're able to, as a care partner, because that's the only part I can speak from. I really can't speak as a person living with dementia. But for me, as a sometimes care partner, I've got to learn to value different things and value different types of gifts and the intensity of certain things differently. And that's why I think I value my friends living with dementia so much, because I know that any gift that they give me, whether it's service, it's gift, it's time, it's affirmation, it's physical connection, that took them so much more effort than anything I could ever do. And that I really value. But that took a long time to understand, and a lot to understand from being with somebody living with dementia, I think.
And what I would say is the gifts that I get from my friends who are living with dementia have enabled me to become the person that I'm more willing to be.
Yeah.
Which you can't do that without having these gifts coming into your life and figuring out what you're going to do with them, how you're going to repurpose them, what they mean to you, and unwrapping them and being surprised sometimes at what's in there, and realizing, yeah, that's so different, huh? And just going, huh, that's different. Well, we'll figure it out. So I'm going to have Beth gift us a little bit in the last few minutes with a little bit of stories of her journey. She's just been to India. And she also walked the Camino Trail with Brother John Richard. And she's done echoes with both Joanna and Brother John. And she's been to Seattle with the nuns, and she's been traveling a good bit. So, Beth, what would you like to share of your journeys in gifting? If you would like to gift us with anything here.
Well, I like to gift things. It's so presumptuous sounding, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's interesting. One of the most joyous things that I ever did in my travels and I'll get to India in a second, was when Joanna was texting me and found out in our text that I was in London. And she said, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I was like, "What am I doing?" I'm like, I've got an extra day here. I thought I'd get some email done, maybe find a cool coffee shop or something. And she's like, What? You're in London, you're not going to go shopping? And this from the woman who's like, I want to travel that way, but there's other parts of it. So I ended up kind of taking her with me, and we spent the day kind of like, and I made myself go out, and I made myself find like the largest stationery store I could find in the city of London. And I was texting her stupid little things, and it was such a gift that she gave me. And I felt a little bit like I could give her back this gift of travel that she couldn't do. And it's now become one of my little treasured memories that Joanna made me get out of the hotel room. And I'm so glad she did. And it cracks me up. And I was sending her stupid pictures, but I felt like I was traveling with her. And I think that idea, yeah, Joanna, what do you think about
that? I remember that. I was like, they have a TJ Maxx over there, right? I was like, okay. And I was looking on Forrest was helping me. He was like, okay, tell her it's over here. And I'm like, okay. And it was like we were on this adventure together. And
okay, I felt like we were too.
It was really fun. And I think I asked if you're going to bring back a Versace belt, and you're like, no, I don't have $3,000 to toss away on a stupid belt or something. But it was like we were on vacation together. We
were like tracking on the map, and I was taking pictures of where I was.
And I took that again. This is kind of like, I bet you did a great job vacuuming I was going to say the toilet, the bathtub. That's just that good experience, that good connection, that those fuzzies, yep, that stays with us for days. It sustained me for days, even if I stepped in the dog poop, even if, I didn't have my tea that I needed in the morning. It sustained me. It was huge. And I was like, I hope I didn't interrupt whatever she had planned, because I want her to go to that TJ Maxx over there. And I know right where it is.
It was so fun.
It was fun. It was really fun.
It's amazing how the travels when you are pushed out of your comfort zone sometimes. But I think the reality is that you have to know what your comfort zones are to know how far you can push. So whether that's living with a physical limitation, living with limitations of I couldn't drag my friend Joanna with me to shop for Versace in London for so many reasons, much less the price. But in India, there was these moments of recognition that were a gift, that were, dementia is dementia is dementia. And that no matter where I am in the world, we've got to figure out how we gift each other, because those gifts we give come back. And even in a moment where we had like 1 4-hour window. So I was only there for 4 days. 1 4-hour window that we happened to have because Indigo broke down, the whole plane system broke down, and we ended up with an extra day. And we went to this one touristy area, and there was tons of little kids. And because we were completely out in the middle of nowhere for where the tourists would go, it was a regular place for everybody else that lives there. Ended up being mobbed by these school children. And they were so excited about the gift of touch because they were very conscious and would just sit there and do this. Hi, hi, hi. And I ended up, when I put out my hand and we did hand under hand with a few kids and we got pictures, that gift of touch, they were just squealing. And it was also a gift of touch when that lovely moment of children expanded to a bunch of creepy men that wanted to get pictures too. And they, of course, did the thing where they held out their hand, and guess what? That gift of touch became a control center for me, which is, you're going to stand this far away from me. Mm-hmm. So it's amazing to see how the physiological and the neurophysical communications tools that we've got in PAC can truly be gifts of control and boundaries for us. And it can expand our world so beautifully. And that truly is the gift of PAC.
Thank you, Beth.
Yeah.
So for all of you out there, hopefully you've enjoyed our curious conversation. Gift giving, the process of gifting, the idea of celebration with limits, the recognition that change is going on And if we want to really have a great interaction, be open to the idea of living in the moment, appreciating what's possible, acknowledging when it's not working, and being willing to try again, because it's not an end, it's a process. So, for all of you out there, thank you for listening in. And for all of my teammates here, thank you for being present, for participating, and for sharing of yourselves. And we think that's the greatest gift of all. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thanks, team. Bye, everybody.